She said it was a girls' night at the lake, but I found her in her ex's bed instead. She claimed it was closure before marriage, so I gave her the only closure she deserved. Silence. They say love makes you blind, but I didn't realize it could make you deaf too. Deaf to the warning signs, the quiet distance, the subtle shifts that whisper something's wrong. We were just 6 months from the wedding. Nothing fancy, just a backyard ceremony in Vermont with string lights, friends, family, and the kind of food that brings people together. It was supposed to be the start of everything, our new life. Her name was Emily, soft-spoken but smart, funny in a way that didn't try too hard. The kind of person who could walk into a room and calm the chaos without saying much at all. I thought I had found someone steady, someone who made the world slow down when everything else was rushing by. I loved her. I loved our dog, our plans, our late-night talks about growing old together. I thought she was it. So when she told me she was heading out for a girls' night with her old college friends, I didn't think twice. Said they'd be staying at her friend Claire's lake house, wine, catching up, wedding talk. I trusted her. That's what you do when you're about to marry someone. That night, around 9:30, I sent her a picture of our dog curled up in her hoodie. Just something small, something normal. She replied about an hour later with a short message. I'll miss you. Don't wait up. Everyone's crashing here tonight. It was the kind of text that should feel comforting. But it didn't. Something felt off. Not big. Just a little tug in the back of my mind. But I let it go. Told myself not to overthink it. Still, when I woke up the next morning, I couldn't shake the feeling. So I checked her location. We shared it mostly for safety. But what I saw didn't line up. She was in New Hampshire, not Vermont, at a house registered to someone named Aaron M. The name hit me like cold water. Aaron was her ex from college, the one she'd mentioned casually during one of our talks about past relationships. Said it ended peacefully. No drama. That was the last I'd thought of him. Until now. I sat there, staring at the address on the map. I wanted to believe it was a mistake. That she went there for something innocent. That maybe she wasn't even inside. But I knew better. I called her that morning. Tried to keep my voice light. Hey, morning Em. How was girls' night? She sounded tired. Distant. It was fine. Just tired. Didn't sleep much. I asked if she was still at Claire's. There was a pause. Then she said, yeah, just packing up. That pause was everything. I didn't push. I just said, drive safe. And hung up. Then I texted Claire. Someone I'd only met a couple times, but seemed friendly enough. Hey Claire, sorry to bother you. Did Emily leave her hoodie at your place? I think she might have forgotten it. Claire replied 10 minutes later. Hey, we didn't do girls' night this weekend. Everything okay? I just stared at my screen. My chest felt heavy. The hoodie wasn't lost. Emily was. She came home that afternoon, and I could see it in her eyes. The guilt, the hesitation. Like she knew she was walking into a room where a truth was already waiting for her. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just asked one question. Where were you last night? She paused, dropped her gaze and said quietly, I didn't go to Claire's. My heart sank. So where did you go? She took a deep breath, then said it like she'd rehearsed it in her head 100 times. I went to see Aaron. I needed to close that chapter. One last night before I get married. One last night. One last night to feel free. I could barely register the words. I felt like the ground was slipping from beneath my feet. I asked her if she slept with him. She nodded.
No tears. No excuses.
Just a flat, quiet yes. I didn't know what to say. I just sat down on the arm of the couch, staring at the floor like it might give me answers. She kept talking. Said she reached out to him a month ago. That they started talking, reminiscing. That she didn't plan for it to go that far. That she needed to be sure she was ready to let go of her past. She said she loved me. That it was just a moment of closure. A goodbye to who she used to be. But all I heard was that she had reached out, planned this, lied to my face, and slept with someone else while I was sending her pictures of our dog. I asked if he knew she was engaged. She said yes. They both agreed it was just one night. That made it worse. It wasn't some mistake. It was a choice. And she didn't even cry until I said nothing back. She reached for my hand, pulled away. She whispered that she regretted it, that it wasn't worth it. But some things don't get measured in regret. Some choices can't be undone. I didn't respond. I just got up, grabbed my keys and left. I didn't know where I was going when I left that afternoon. I just knew I couldn't stay in that house with her words still hanging in the air like smoke from a fire that burned everything down. I drove for over an hour before pulling into my brother's driveway 2 towns over. He didn't ask questions right away, just handed me a cold beer and sat on the porch beside me while I tried to breathe through the weight in my chest. That night, I told him everything. About the lie, the location, the confession, and that sentence that wouldn't stop echoing in my head. One last night to feel free. He listened, didn't interrupt. Just let me say it all out loud, like releasing a poison that had been building for days. Then he asked the same thing I'd been asking myself since she said it. Do you think you can forgive her? I didn't have an answer. I didn't even know what forgiveness would look like in a situation like this. All I knew was that I didn't feel like the same man who bought a ring and picked out napkin colors 6 months ago. Something had changed. In her. In me. In us. Over the next few days, she texted me. First with soft apologies. Can we talk? I miss you. Then it got more desperate. Please just tell me what you're thinking. I'll do anything. I didn't respond. Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I didn't know how to respond without shattering whatever was left. I wasn't angry in the traditional sense. I wasn't screaming or throwing things. I was just tired. Tired of imagining her in his bed. Tired of wondering what else she hadn't told me. Tired of trying to wrap love around a knife without getting cut. Eventually, I agreed to meet. Neutral ground. A quiet coffee shop near my work where nothing could get too loud or too personal. She showed up looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. No makeup. Hair pulled back. Hoodie hanging off her like it didn't belong to her body anymore. She sat down without a word and looked at me like she was waiting for a verdict. I messed up, she said before I even took a sip of my coffee. I know I did, and I know I don't deserve anything from you, but I need you to know I regret it. I wish I could take it back. She told me she cut off contact with Aaron right after, that she told her sister and her parents, that she was seeing a therapist, that she was trying to understand why she did it. But then she said something that hit differently than everything else. I thought I needed to feel wild one last time, but all it did was show me what I could have lost. That was the first time I saw fear in her eyes. Not guilt, not shame, but real fear. The kind that comes when you finally understand that some bridges stay burned forever. I asked her one simple question. Why didn't you talk to me about how you were feeling before you did that? Her eyes filled with tears. Because I didn't want to admit it, she whispered. That I had doubts. That I missed who I was before we were us. And I knew if I told you, it would already be too late. That said everything. She didn't trip and fall into a bad decision. She walked into it, eyes open. And she was prepared to carry the lie into our marriage like nothing happened. I looked at her for a long time. Then I said the only thing that felt true. I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting myself. You made a choice without me. So now I'm making one without you. She cried. Not silent tears, but full-body sobs that made people in the coffee shop turn their heads. But I stayed calm. I stood up, told her to take care, and walked out knowing I wasn't coming back. The wedding was called off the next week. I sent a short, respectful email to guests saying it was mutual. Told her to keep the ring. I didn't want anything from her anymore. Not a return gift. Not an explanation. Not a memory that had her name attached to it. She tried reaching out after that. A birthday voicemail. A few long texts filled with what-ifs and I'm sorries. But I never replied. Not out of cruelty, but because I knew the only way forward was to let her live with the silence. Now, a year later, I'm starting to date again. It's not easy. Trust doesn't come as quickly as it used to. Sometimes, I still hear her words in my head like a song I can't delete. I just needed one night to feel free. But then I remember, I walked away with my dignity. She walked away with regret. And that's a weight she'll carry far longer than she ever expected. If you felt this one hit deep, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories where the truth breaks the surface.